Today, Xbox backwards compatibility is clear and well thought out. Lots of other jokes coming up. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where we've been dealing with all the global pandemic of a mid-series Resident Evil, but now with the added low visibility and health risks of Silent Hill.
I'm just glad we're still on mid-series Resident Evil and not The Last of Us.
Or even some of the more recent Resident Evil games where it's all discrete stories of personal horror.
Oh, no, you should see my couch.
Hey gamers, you know what's really PogChamp? War crimes. Oh yeah, guess who's back in the news? It's the US Armed Forces and their ill-advised presence on Twitch. The US Army esports team has long slunk back to their page on August 6th, unbanning all the users they had previously banned for asking about war crimes, and with new directives to not infringe on the free speech of Twitch users. So while personal attacks, crude language, pornographic material, harassment, and bullying would still result in a ban, criticizing the US military-industrial complex is back on the menu, which is how you get this. But it hits a little differently when it's the military themselves memeing on the death of thousands of civilians, as happened recently on the Navy's Twitch channel. During a stream of Among Us, personnel specialist Brandon Chandler was joined by people he referred to as, quote, close friends, who decided to make their in-game display names such choice cuts as Nagasaki and Japan 1945. Another called themselves Gamer Word, which I don't have time to get into the etymology of at the moment, but it's not a great look. In an email to Motherboard, the U.S. Navy Public Affairs Office responded, quote, 3 non-Navy affiliated users decided to use extremely inappropriate in-game usernames. We have paused streaming and are reevaluating how we vet users who are allowed to play with us on stream. Continuing, we do not condone those usernames, and adding of personnel specialist Chandler, his reaction to the situation was unbecoming of a member of our team, and he will no longer be streaming with us. Which is a good call, because I'm pretty sure he vented to electrical, and I'm very sus.
Indie developer Rami Ismail has some interesting ideas on how to shake up the air travel paradigm. For a sneak preview, head to his Twitch page to experience Twitch chat playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. Nearly 100 players have successfully worked simultaneously to toggle the parking brake on and off like a million times, eventually get airborne, land the plane, that's good news, and now they start to do tricks. An aileron roll, right? Or was that a barrel roll? That's never mattered. This all sounds like a great idea. No, really, I think it's such a great idea that we should bring it into real life. Next time you walk onto your WestJet flight from Toronto to Calgary or whatever, every passenger gets a seat with a flight yoke and pedals. Springing for WestJet Plus is finally worth it too, since you also get a throttle lever. Then just sit back, pop on your noise-canceling headphones, and white-knuckle that stick or else risk landing in Medicine Hat. This might even compel all those jackasses to put their goddamn iPads away so I don't have to ignore the idiot who forgot their headphones broadcasting the erotic adventures of S at top volume. I am 3 deep in the window here. Stop giving me an erection. If 100 people in chat can safely land a plane, I'm sure a 737 full of discount travelers can do the same. And if not, who gives a shit? They were headed to Calgary.
It has been 0 days since Twitch TV upset its users, which ties for its previous run of 0 days. The Amazon-owned streaming service announced an experiment to roll out automatic mid-roll ads that the streamer cannot opt out of. Without apparent feedback for when it's happening, the streamer will be relegated to a silent picture-in-picture in the top of chat while their viewers are subjected to an ad for whatever is premiering on Prime Video this week. And the only way to stop this from happening is if a streamer has manually run an ad recently, with no real indication of what recently means. Worth noting that they announced this change via their Twitch support Twitter account, the account less likely to be followed by general users, thereby reducing the blowback. Which didn't work, of course. Nobody liked this announcement, and Twitch has not followed up or clarified anything since then. Then, the next day, as part of Twitch's celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, they rolled out some emote modifiers that were also not met positively. From their website, Hispanic Heritage Month is a celebration of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America, which is why people were a little dismayed that all of that was represented by a mariachi guitar, maracas, and a sombrero. Now, to be clear, because the degree to which people were offended often gets blown out of proportion, the general response from people who claim to have Hispanic heritage was mostly just, come on. Like, for us, if Twitch celebrated Canada Day by adding an emote of bonhomme, like, sure, I get it. He is Canadian, but only sort of like one specific area of Canada and kind of the lowest hanging fruit. Anyway, Twitch tripped over themselves to remove the emotes and apologize profusely to their Hispanic audience and streamers because Twitch wishes to appear as though they are fostering a community where all their users are happy, but they haven't said anything about the mid-roll ads because in that case, the happiness falls on the wrong side of the cost-benefit analysis.
Monster Beverage Corporation, makers of Dayglow energy slurry that tastes like carbonated cough syrup, was upset that Ubisoft was making Gods and Monsters, because Monster has the monster name and no one else can have the monster name, even if it's a video game, because Monster is also a video game thing because of all the video games that Monster is. Or is next to. Or they are also esports now too. Look, this is a stupid summation because let's face it, this is a stupid story. So after Monster filed 186 pages worth of "I'm also a video game" with the US Patent and Trademark Office, Ubisoft just said, fuck it, we were always going to name it something else more forgettable anyway. I don't have time to fight this in the courts, I'm too busy getting my ass kicked for all of the sexual harassment I keep doing. But this isn't about a name. This is about respect. And if you don't stand up for your trademarks, you won't get any respect, which I understand. Trademarks are very important, and it's important to stand up for what's rightfully yours. What surprises me, Monster Beverage Corporation, is that if Gods and Monsters was going to cause such heady confusion among the dim-witted video gaming public, well, then why have you been letting a flagrant violator get away with using your rightful trademark in the video game space for decades? Do it. Do it, Monster. I dare you. I fucking double dog dare you. It's your trademark, right? It's your trademark. Now take it back, you piece of shit. Do it! Take it from them!
Have some water.
Oh.
All right. The final piece of the next-gen console puzzle has finally fallen into place. Yes, how the Xbox Series S will handle backwards compatibility. I think. Look, IGN basically summarized it in a tweet that I had to read 7 times before my eyes uncrossed. The Xbox Series S will not run Xbox One X enhanced versions of backwards compatible games, but will instead run Xbox One S versions of Xbox One and Xbox 360 titles. I'm honestly still having trouble with it, but I think that's a branding issue on Microsoft's end. See, there are like 600 some Xbox and Xbox 360 games that are backwards compatible on the current generation of Microsoft console, which, and I have to be really clear about the nomenclature, is the Xbox One. Classic games like Gears of War 2 and Blinks the Time Sweeper. Now, Microsoft has 2 additional models of the Xbox One. The Xbox One S, which could upscale games to 4K, and the Xbox One X, which could actually render them at 4K. And 66 of those games I mentioned earlier were so heavenly ordained as to not only be backwards compatible, but to have added enhancements that take advantage of the more powerful Xbox One X. But despite Microsoft positioning the forthcoming next-gen Xbox Series S as a new generation console, it is not as powerful as the current Xbox One X, so it won't be able to use all of those enhancements. Which means if you play Blood Rain 2 on your Series S, it won't look as good as if you played it on a One X, which is obviously me being facetious. It came out 16 years ago and I doubt most people care, but it's very odd to put the Series S and Series X shoulder to shoulder when one of them is less powerful with less memory than the current highest end Xbox One. Oh, and we got prices for the PS5s. One of them has a disk drive. Hey, do you think Monster ever would try to sue Pokemon?
Nah, this is a comedy show. No one's supposed to take what we say seriously, right?
Oh, you must not read the comments.
Coming up, the Call of Duty League is moving from PS4 to PC, but players still have to use controllers, not mouse and keyboard, which is like moving the Le Mans race to a NASCAR track, but they still have to use LM prototype cars, I think? I'm trying to think of a sports metaphor, but I don't watch sports, only videos about sports.
Good, yes. Yes, excellent.
It's gotten so long it actually can't stand up anymore.
You're beyond the butter zone.
Yeah.
Time to put butter in it.
No.